Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another TheeSportsScoop video. As we say, another week, another weekly predictions video. Today, we are missing Suraj. We have two fantastic hosts, nevertheless, in Charlie Nidell, Dylan Shalom. I'm Cian McDermott. Week 14 picks, crazy. The playoffs are looming. Obviously, I know the Texans are out of the playoffs. The Lions now obviously are out of the playoffs, even though they did win. I did a video reacting to it, and there was like 45 things that needed to go right for them to win. And I think it was the Raiders needed to beat Washington. That didn't happen. Maybe that wasn't it, but
Yeah, that was the one.
yeah, and so I mean, it was a very, very active, very again, obviously fantastic week of football in week 13. We saw some upsets, and which we talk. We know you guys know we recap a little bit of week 13 when we give our predictions. So it's kind of week 13, week 14, but it's our week 14 picks. As the record stands, if you guys have been following us, we obviously have our records for all four members. Currently, I think Charlie or Suraj are in first. Suraj not on, so we don't know his record yet, but that you guys will see it. And then it's Charlie.
We have, if you want, I can tell you.
Yeah.
So I'm 121 and 70. Suraj just 2 games behind at 119 and 72. Dylan's got 113, and Cian, you're sitting there with 110, making your comeback slowly but surely.
Yeah, Dylan's legs are starting to shake a little bit. He knows he's going to get in fourth place, but nevertheless, obviously, as always, make sure you guys follow us on social media, subscribe, make sure to watch full video. Some of you guys watch like to the 425 games if it's your favorite team. So respect to you, honestly. I say that all the time. If you can listen to us for that long, props to you. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into the picks.
So going into this Thursday night game, this is a very interesting one because I would usually have my answer within 5 seconds, but this week changed everything. Vikings and Steelers.
Yeah, this is a really hard game to predict. This is a ridiculous. I mean, the Steelers to me have kind of been playing spoiler. I mean, as much as Dylan, perfect day to post on TikTok that Big Ben's the worst quarterback in the league, and they go and beat the high flying Ravens.
Have a good game. I'm gonna stick with that.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna say Big Ben's good, but yeah, it's a tough game to predict, obviously, because we know I mean, look, as bad as it is for the Vikings that they lost to the Detroit Lions, giving them their first win, this Vikings team is not on any level that the blinds are. So let's get that out of the way. We know that they're not, obviously the Lions have been able to compete with teams. The Lions compete with the Ravens. They lost 3 games because of, walk-off field goal. So it's not been like the Lions have been that bad. The win was deserved. Nevertheless, they did lose. And so did, the Steelers won by a point. And again, the Steelers, no matter how old Big Ben gets, they've been able to win not primetime games, but games that really matter, divisional matchups. So it's tough. I'm going to give it to the Steelers, but I mean, I'm not confident in any way about this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, as you said before, this week I would have had my guess in my pick in a heartbeat. But after the Vikings lost to the Lions, it really sets them back a notch for me. I thought they were a better team than they showed they are this week. But if anything, I think it's going to make them come back fighting even harder and even stronger. And I think one player they're going to need to get in the game is Adam Thielen. He only had 1 catch this week for a whopping 0 yards. Thanks, Adam, for my fantasy team. But Justin Jefferson played well. Obviously, with the Dalvin Cook injury, that can't be helpful, but Madison is a starting caliber running back, so they've still got a running back in there. I think the Vikings are going to take this one against the Steelers. The Steelers can't do it 2 in a row.
I'm also going to pick the Vikings in this one, and I don't think it's because the Steelers aren't going to be able to do it 2 in a row. I think it's the home field advantage for this one. Minnesota's got that in a primetime game, and that coming onto a short week, I think Minnesota have the younger players, which means they'll have more ability to recover from their game. So
Big Ben.
I don't know about that, but I mean, Kirk and Big Ben in terms of age, there's not a huge gap when you look at receivers.
There's a big difference in terms of physical capabilities. Big Ben looks like he's on his last legs. Kirk Cousins is playing at an MVP caliber level at this.
No, he's not.
That might be an over exaggeration.
Pretty close to it.
Kirk Cousins is barely a top 10 quarterback this year.
That's an over-exaggeration, I'm aware.
Yeah.
But he's
no,
playing
yeah, I mean,
well.
I guess, but I mean, you look at mobility, they both are pretty similar.
But that's not what I'm trying to say, though. I'm trying to say that Kirk Cousins is going to be able to come back on a Thursday night and perform at a level that's not going to put him under the ground. While Big Ben, I don't know if he'll be able to do that. So that's why I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Yeah, all right, moving on to the next one. We have the Saints and the Jets. So, I mean, not a great game, not one that you would particularly want to tune into unless you're a fan of either of the teams. Obviously, we don't know if it'll be Ian Book or Trevor Siemian, but, is Taysom Hill much better? Probably not. I mean, I've been saying it for the longest time. I've never understood why this guy's been in consideration to be a starting quarterback when there are other quarterbacks on the roster. I think the position that the Saints have put him in these past couple of years is it's like weird dynamic player who hurdles and is a quarterback who trucks people, just does not fit when you want him to go play quarterback and whatever. He's versatile. I don't know. But again, going up against a Jets team that I think has progressively gotten better and better. I think right now, even though it says it, I think the Jets are a better team than Miami Dolphins. I think they're the third best team in this division. I think this Jets team looked good this week. Obviously,
did you just say they're the best team in the division?
No, I said they're better than the Miami Dolphins.
So they're third best.
Yeah. Dylan has hearing problems, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big thing on this channel. But I mean, obviously that very much contradicts their performance this week. Well, I think it looked good. They looked good to start the game. I think Zach Wilson looked really good. Obviously had that miss to Elijah Moore in the end zone, which would have been, that would have been a lot better to see, obviously, for him to connect to that. But I think early in the game, he looked good. And then the Eagles kind of took it away. And I think Minshew, give him the credit where it is due. And then defensively, I think that's just been the problem for the Jets. You don't know what defense is going to show up. It's either going to be the worst in the league or that defensive line is going to step up. But I mean, this is a tough one. I'm going to go for the Jets just because the Saints are like completely bereft on all sides of the ball. So I think the Jets will win, but I don't think this will be a particularly good game.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it'll be a great game. Has Taysom Hill been ruled out for the game? Is he not?
Taysom Hill's out for the rest of the year.
Is he really?
I think so. I'm a lot of things I say sometimes are not true. Why'd I say that?
I don't know, because I think if Taysom
just like
Hill,
saying the Jets are better than
I'm actually sorry. Taysom Hill, I think what they did well is
he's out for that game. I know.
He's trying to play through it. He might need a surgery though.
I mean, I don't think.
Okay, so I think if Taysom Hill plays, it's actually better for the Saints for this game. I think in the big games, you need a real quarterback to play. But the one thing that the Saints did well offensively last week is when Taysom Hill ran the ball. And you saw, I watched the highlights of that game, and there were almost no rushing attempts in the first half. And then third quarter, they started, I think there were 2 possessions in a row where they pretty much only gave Taysom Hill designed runs, and that was it. And they went down and I believe scored on both possessions. So that's what they did well last week. Obviously, if Taysom Hill can't play, that's a setback on the rushing game. But Alvin Kamara hopefully will be healthy. You never know. But I think the Saints are the better team right now, even though the Jets maybe look good for a quarter again this week against the Eagles. I'm going to go for the Saints in this one.
Yeah, I'm also going to go for the Saints. I'm just going to completely disregard your complete mental delusion about the Jets being better than the Dolphins. Salty New York fans incoming, but both Giants and Jets. But I don't understand what is up with the Saints, first of all, because they looked like they were like an up and down, and now they're just on the down trend. That being said, Simeon in at quarterback, I still think they should be able to beat the Jets because they've proven that they can't put up with Gardner Minshew's Eagles, who have somehow a worse offense, I think, maybe, than the Saints. They both suck. But I think the Saints will be able to take down the Jets because their defense is solid, their O-line is solid, and they just altogether have a better roster. Jets haven't been able to win games other than weirdly with Mike White against the Bengals and against the Titans early in the season. I think the Saints got this one. Moving into the next one, though, we've got a divisional clash of mediocrity, and that is the Falcons and the Panthers.
Yeah, not an interesting one. Panthers bye week this week, Falcons losing to the Bucks predictively this week. Obviously, I mean, the Falcons are just not a great team. I think the only good part about the season has been what they found in Cordell Patterson and the Panthers.
Yes.
Obviously, they look for answers at quarterback that just don't make sense. At this point, it needs to be a draft a quarterback or go home. PJ Walker is not your long-term option. Sam Darnold is worse than he was on the Jets somehow in the kind of second half of games he's been playing. And then, obviously Christian McCaffrey, who now I think a lot of people are regretting giving contracts. You kind of look at running backs so far. I mean, at this point, if you're the Panthers, I'm trading him for Deshaun Watson. I'm getting him off here. And as much as we obviously, thought it was blasphemy that they were going to do that this offseason, it makes sense. I mean, at this point, draft running backs once their fifth year comes, let them go and then draft another guy. The talent you can find in late rounds, I think, just beats in. McCaffrey has just been injury prone. This is a really tough one because, McCaffrey's out for the season. But the Falcons just haven't found that, and they haven't found that offense that was, holding them slightly last year. Obviously, losing Ridley's been a big hit. I'm going to go for the Falcons, but again, this is the game where the Panthers could completely dominate, which we've seen kind of in past years. I think last year Curtis Samuel had like 4 rushing touchdowns or 3 rushing touchdowns. So it's a weird matchup, but I'm going to go for the Falcons in this one.
Okay, I will say I in some ways agree with what you said about drafting running backs, but at the same time, yes. So draft running back 5 years in, just draft a new one. You can find a lot of talent in late rounds, but the talent you can find in late rounds is nothing compared to the talent of Christian McCaffrey right now.
Yeah, but he's not on the field, so I'd rather have a steady running back who's not as good than McCaffrey.
So you're saying you'd rather trade Saquon as well?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I disagree. I think when you have such a talented running back, you can't just let him go like that. You can't just draft a 6th-round running back to be his replacement. I'd rather have Christian McCaffrey half the games and my backup, who can still be a 6th-round running back, play the other half the games than that 6th-round running back play all 16, 17 games. So,
but the question where he's asking is, why are you paying that stud running back to stay another couple of years? Because he's not going to be on the field. That's the question he's asking. It's not why you're keeping him on the team. It's why you're paying him a massive contract.
Well, I think the hope was that he wouldn't get injured.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you never expected. He had 1 injury going into the season, and this season he's gotten injured 2 or 3 times. So it's unlucky for McCaffrey. It's unlucky for the Panthers. But back to the prediction, I'm gonna go with the Falcons in this one. I think the thing that the Falcons have that the Panthers don't have is a quarterback right now. And Matt Ryan, he's gonna find his way through the game. He's experienced. He's a veteran. He'll find his way through. They held the Bucs relatively close this week. So I'm gonna go with the Falcons in this one.
I'm gonna go with the Falcons as well, because they have an identity and the Panthers don't. The Panthers don't know what they're doing right now. They're mixing between Cam Newton and PJ Walker,
I completely forgot about Cam Newton.
They're
trying to get old Cam back.
Yeah.
They're absolutely killing everything that they started with in the season defensively by changing up their scheme to suit Stephon Gilmore, which, although Stephon Gilmore's a monster, you can't change everything around for one defensive player. And that's why their defense has not been the same as it was at the start of the season. But that's besides the point. Panthers do not have an identity. They're not going to be able to take down a team who, although they're not solid, they're not great, they're still in that wild card push. So I think the Falcons are going to go in there and take those points.
Yeah.
Going into the next one, we've got 2 really, really terrible teams. One of them did win this week, though. We've got the Seahawks and the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative that the Seahawks are terrible, it's just not true.
It might be an over-exaggeration. That might be an over-exaggeration.
The Seahawks are a very capable team. This is a team where if you had Russ the whole season, this team would most likely be a wild card team. It's been unlucky. Obviously, that hand injury, it's very hard to come back, mid-season from a finger hand injury. So I think that's definitely been a big reason why the Seahawks team hasn't been great. And then also obviously the Texans, they've just been an organization that hasn't been able to get it together. So I think I'm going to go for the Seahawks here. The Texans just, to me, are just, out of the playoffs. They're just not a good team.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Texans are just not good enough to be the Seahawks, who have good players. I don't think the Seahawks are a very good team this year. Obviously, if Russ wasn't hurt, if Chris Carson wasn't hurt, we would be having a different conversation right now. As you said, the wild card push would be there. We haven't seen much from Metcalf and Lockett, a duo we probably expected a lot from this season, and they were hurt by the Russell Wilson injury. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks as well. I think they're just a better football team. There's not much else to say about it.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Seahawks here. Texans eliminated from the playoffs. Now they're really going to be looking into who they're going to draft for the next season. Looks like a bit of a tank. It will be incoming, maybe trying to get that first overall pick. And
it'll be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough race for them, who will lose more games, but Seahawks, they do not have their first round pick. They gave it to the Jets, so they have that motivation to just go out and get wins, players on contract years. And I also don't think that I said they're a terrible team in the intro to this game, but I honestly don't believe that. I was over exaggerating. They're not a terrible team. They're a team that had their struggles at the start of the year. And if they had put everything together a little bit earlier, I think they'd be right in the hunt for a playoff spot. Unfortunately, it is not to be, but they will come away victorious against the Texans. Now moving into the next one, we've got a very, very interesting one, kind of interesting one, Raiders and Chiefs.
Yeah, so second time we're seeing this matchup. And I think the first one, the Raiders were probably favored to win it. It was when the Chiefs are kind of in that slump and didn't look good. And then obviously Derek Carr loses this week to Washington, which, the Raiders at this point, it's not a surprise. They're up, down, up, down. I think this season, even though they've kind of been losing a little bit more, they've been more steady than past years. I mean, midseason, this team would be losing every single game. But again, going against the Chiefs, who are they playing? The Chiefs playing right now. Excuse me. So not a bye week, but yeah, I mean, it's a great divisional game. I think the Raiders at this point, I think this is probably the game where they're like, all right, if we lose this game, maybe it's not this year. Again, there's still 3 weeks after, so probably not. But the Chiefs, I think, will continue to push. I think it's a Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs are fully foot on the gas. I don't think they're stopping anytime soon. I think they found that. That sweet spot that they've had every other year. So I'm gonna go for the Chiefs here.
Yeah, last time we saw this matchup, we were 50-50 split on this one. Cian and I came out the victors, predicting the Chiefs and big winners. That was not even close. And I don't think we'll see another blowout. You never know, but I do think the Chiefs will come out on top on this one as well. As we speak, the Chiefs are beating the Broncos, but I think for the Raiders, it's just because they lose this game to the AFC West champions, the Chiefs, doesn't mean that they're out of the playoff race. I think they still stand a good chance at making a push for maybe that 7 spot. It'll be a really tough one. And the question is whether or not they go for that pick. I know it's going to be a really hard one, or whether they think they're good enough to compete for that spot. And I think it'll be a really interesting to see what they do in that spot. I know they don't have much of a receiving corps, so they could use one of those top receivers we really like in college right now.
Who is the Raiders coach?
It's
the interim guy.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
Big. Yeah, but I am going to go with the Chiefs in this one again.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I don't think I can explain anything that these guys didn't. It's a pretty straightforward pick. The Chiefs found their mojo. The Raiders just lost a heartbreaker to the Washington football team. Don't really know what else I have to say. Chiefs are a better team. Chiefs are in better form. Chiefs will win the game. Moving into the next one, we've got two teams that one who had a nice bye week, got to rest, maybe got to see some tourist attractions in Cleveland. And then another one who went and lost to the Steelers. We've got the Ravens and the Browns.
Yeah, much needed bye week for this Browns team. I was looking at the injuries Baker Mayfield had. I did a video on bench Baker. I honestly think that was a little bit unfair. This guy literally has every single injury possible. He is that doesn't keep you out of playing. The labor, I don't even know. I know the labor. I completely forgot all the other ones, but yeah, I mean the NFL is so weird. I mean, like, please just give us a team that will win every week and look like contenders. Like, all right, yeah, the Ravens are going to get this bye. They're a good team, and then they lose to the Steelers, and it's like, all right, now what? So it's just a tough game to predict. It's a divisional matchup, and no matter how good a team is playing, exact example, the Vikings-Lions game, no matter how bad, how good you are, divisional matchups are generally always close. I'd say they're much closer than an out-of-division matchup. I mean, I'm going to go for the Ravens here. But it's a Browns team that we know the talent that's on that roster. So it's just about which player is going to step up. Is Baker. I don't think Keenum's too much of a downgrade from Baker. So if Keenum were to start, I wouldn't, kind of be like, all right, the Ravens are definitely winning, because Keenum can, as much as no one hates on him. Never mind. Just Keenum is a serviceable backup. But I'm going to go for the Ravens here.
Yeah, as you're talking about how weird this NFL is, the Steelers last season go 10-0, finished 13-3, and now they are barely breaking 500. Mm-hmm. It's random. I don't understand how it works, but I'm also going to go with the Ravens. Simply put, I don't think the Browns are a very good football team this year. It's
Yeah, and it's I know.
they're far too inconsistent. They don't have a passing game. The only production they get is from their backup running back Kareem Hunt, and I just
And
don't
Nick
see a
Chubb.
way. Yes, Nick Chubb, but not as much as we expected. I mean, Kareem Hunt's arguably been better than Chubb this season with that injury. But I just think that he's been their best player by far this season, even with the injury. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens on this one. They got unlucky to not beat the Steelers. Mark Andrews, that ball came off his hand and fell to the ground on that 2-point conversion. But I think the Ravens will take this one.
I'm also going to go with the Ravens here. I don't think the Browns are incredibly good. Their pass rush is always dangerous with Myles Garrett, and their offensive line, when they're healthy, is always going to be able to help their running game. But the Ravens have the X factor that the Browns don't, and that's Lamar
A good
Jackson.
running back. Oh yeah, Lamar.
That's Lamar Jackson, and he's going to be able to win them this game. Cleveland just haven't shown that same poise offensively as we saw last season. You could put that up to lack of difference making in the run game. You could put that up to not having a steady wide receiver one. And honestly, it doesn't matter what you put it up to because the production hasn't been there, and I can't see it coming back anytime soon. Ravens, disappointing loss, but they at least have a foundation that they can build off coming into this game. While even though Cleveland had a bye week, I can't see how they're going to game plan because they really just don't have any pieces offensively, especially in the passing game, that would threaten a good defense. So I'm going with the Ravens. Moving into the next one, we've got a very interesting one here, Cowboys and Washington.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of game where if Washington wins it, I think they could potentially, I mean, you never know. Cowboys, as we talk about, the NFL is weird. Washington, if they continue, they win out. I mean, maybe they win the division. Who knows? The NFL is crazy, but yeah, I mean, let's pump the brakes a little bit on Washington. A good win, but this isn't. It's Heineke has been one of those players who's had that, like the Minshew and the Mike Whites, they've had that game and it's been like, oh my God, this is a good quarterback. I will give credit to Heineke. He's actually produced pretty consistently since that Tampa Bay game. I think he's come in. I think he's won games and watching our second division that we had no idea what was going to happen going into the year besides, kind of Cowboys being the favorites. But even then, you never know. So, big credit to him. I think, this guy's story is fantastic. But I'm going to go for the Cowboys. I'm just in a divisional game like this. I think CD will be back. I think Amari Cooper will be back. I'm just not betting against this offense and the defense that we know has stepped up tremendously this year. But yeah, give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, difference maker on that defense, Micah Parsons. Wow, what a season he's having.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's weird. Every time I pick Washington, they lose, and then every time I'm like, okay, so I can't pick Washington, and I don't pick Washington, they end up winning. Thankfully, they've made it kind of easy for me this week. Cowboys are a better team than the football team, and I think the Cowboys are going to win this one. Should be pretty easy, but you never know. Washington could make this a game. It's a divisional game.
Momentum is a crazy thing, guys.
It is.
And the Washington football team have all of it.
But the Lions have not won in 11 games.
What does that have to do with this?
They beat the Vikings.
Vikings didn't have. Well, point being, the Washington football team are coming in on a hot streak in which they beat Tampa, they beat Carolina, they just beat Vegas. Those are all teams that are other than Carolina, they're all teams that are going to be pushing for playoffs, and they're coming into a divisional game after they just won at the death. I'm going Washington. I'm putting my life on. All right, that's
what the hell?
Okay.
What?
I'm putting no. Okay, rewording. Washington will win this game. I'm willing to put a lot on that. I really believe it.
Illegally,
you want to bet? You want to bet with me on this?
No,
you go onto a betting website and bet 500 on Washington.
I'm not going to do that. I'm underage.
All right, I know a lot. All right, never mind. I'm not going to cram it a lot. Never mind. Continue.
All right. I would pick Washington because I think that they have the momentum going forward. There we go. Moving in to the next one. We have the Jaguars and the Titans.
Oh, man. I just never mind. Well, yeah, I think the Jaguars, it's so unfortunate. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has been possibly the most underwhelming player ever. I mean, this guy was supposed to be, the next best. He's the best quarterback I've ever seen in college. And I think, Dylan, a big thing we've established is even if they're not good in the NFL, that does not take away from them.
Yes.
Play like I think we talked last week. Like people were like, oh, now they're gonna be like, why didn't we draft Mac Jones? No, you're not. Let's rewind and remember how ridiculously good Trevor Lawrence was in college. I don't know what this has anything to do with this, but yeah, I mean the Titans, they were on a bye week as well, right? They did not play this week. Yeah, so on a bye week, Titans have the hot hand, or not have the hot hand. Never mind. They obviously have been playing very well. I'm gonna go for the Titans here. The Jaguars we talk about bad teams. This Jaguars team is really, really, really bad. I mean, we talk about contention for that first overall pick. I think if the Lions can win another game or two, I think the Jaguars are going to be right there for that first overall pick. They just haven't looked good. So I'm going to go for the Titans, especially in a divisional matchup like this. I think the Titans will come out and win.
Yeah, I don't think there's much else I can say that you didn't cover. The Titans are a better team. The Jaguars really suck, and I'm going to go for the Titans.
Yeah, I don't think any of these teams are good at all. I'm going to go for the Titans because the Jaguars have just shown me why drafting a star quarterback will not help you fix your team if you still suck everywhere else. So the Titans, they have looked really, really bad in the last couple of weeks. Bad losses to Houston, New England, but I don't think they're going to be able to lose this one. No matter how bad obviously not no matter how badly they play, but if they play within the realm of a functioning NFL team, they'll beat the Jacksonville Jaguars because Jacksonville are not playing at that level. But anyway, moving in to the next one, first of the 405 span, we've got the Giants and the Chargers.
Yeah. Again, I think this is one of the games where, I'm not going to go I'm not going to go for the Giants. I'm going to go for the Chargers here. I think, just looking at recent forms, obviously the Chargers blowing out the Bengals. I think I'm going to go for the Chargers in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even as a Giants fan, this one's pretty easy to predict. Mike Glennon looked awful. I don't know if Daniel Jones will be back. He's on a week-to-week basis, but it's a really weird, unannounced injury until a day or two before. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one. Not much thought into that one.
If I was aware of Daniel Jones's status, I would pick the Giants to win this game. I think their defense is perfectly suited to take down the Chargers. But if Mike Glennon plays, and I'm not willing to take that risk right now with Cian at my heels, I'm going with the Chargers. Moving in to the next one. Lions Broncos.
Yeah, the church is open, ladies and gentlemen.
Church is open. I was going to get to that.
Yeah. The Lions aren't going to win. It's going to be the Broncos. The Broncos, I would assume, will lose tonight. But, we give, as much as people love Dan Campbell, he's not a good coach. Let's just get that. He's not a good football coach. His play calling, the only reason they won this week is because he didn't have terrible red zone play calling at the end of the game. And also because Cameron Dantzler doesn't know, hey, I shouldn't play cushion against a fourth down. So yeah, I'm gonna go for the Broncos here.
Yeah, I think the Broncos will humble the now not winless Lions. They're not in for two in a row. It won't happen. Amon-Ra St. Brown, as amazing as he was, I believe. What do you have? 100-something yards.
If they win, Dylan will be crucified at the church. Okay,
it was incredible. But the Broncos will show them why they're not a 2-win team, and the Broncos are taking this one.
Talk about putting my life on the line for that bet. If the Broncos win, if the Lions win, then Dylan will be crucified. But the Broncos will win this game. I don't really think I have that much to say. Right when I pulled out of the Dan Campbell church, I've been pulled right back in. Okay. But Broncos are going to win.
Hey, yo.
Oh, man. Moving into the next one, we've got 49ers and Bengals, two really high-flying teams that just got beat down to reality today.
Yeah, the Bengals are having – I was about to say something. Oh, my – never mind. The Bengals have been getting beaten down to reality a lot. Take out the reality, and that's what I was going to say. That would have been bad. But I think the 49ers as well. I think Deebo Samuel is a big reason that this team was not good. And I know he was out for 1 to 2 weeks. So I think this will be a game where it would probably be the last game he missed, but he might be back. I hope so, because, I want him for my fantasy team. And then obviously the Bengals. It's weird. The Bengals now 7-5, a game that I think would have been really big for them to win. Obviously, with the Steelers beating the Ravens. Now I'm just seeing that actually now. I'm gonna go. I think this is the hardest one besides the Vikings game on Thursday night. I hate being the first. I'm gonna go Bengals. Garoppolo didn't look good. I don't think Debo will be back. I'm gonna go Bengals in this one.
Yeah, I think the difference here is when I look at good offensive players on both teams, the Niners have Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell, who has been very good. He's a rookie. George Kittle hasn't been great this season. He looked good
He
last
has
week.
been good. George Kittle's been great since he came
Good
back.
this week. No,
This
he
week
hasn't
didn't
looked
look
that great.
Since he came back.
How done? I'm gonna beat you in fantasy. Nice.
Yeah, I know.
But
Javonte
regardless,
actually
I
had a
don't
really
see
good play.
I don't see as many good offensive threats on the Niners as I do on the Bengals with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Disregard his drop.
Wait.
It's
Charlie, you said
hopefully a
George
fluke.
Kittle hasn't been playing well. He had 9 receptions for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns today.
Yeah, that was this week. I said disregarding this week.
Holy
I saw
crap!
that
I
tweet.
just saw that. Oh my god.
Yeah, he
But
slaughtered me.
Jesus.
But regardless, with Burrow, Chase, and Mixon, I think that that's a triple threat that the Niners defense won't really be able to handle. They're not the same Niners defense as a couple years ago. I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm really, really unsure with this one, but I think overall the Bengals have a better roster, and I think that's the way I'm going to make my decision here since the league is just so weird. I'm not going to project based on like recent games because it just doesn't mean anything at this point. So I'm going to go with the Bengals based on the fact that I think their players are better. Give me the Bengals.
It always comes out. One person always says that each week. All right,
Yeah.
next one.
This is the best game of the week and potentially the season.
No, it's
Bills, Bucks.
It's a good game. I think the best game or potentially is tomorrow night, Monday night. I think Bills Patriots is gonna be fantastic.
That's true.
For sure.
That's a must watch.
Yeah, it is. This is definitely. I'm gonna give my pick first. I'm gonna go Bucks. But again, like I feel like if the Bills lose against the Patriots, this is a game that's gonna be a must win. I'm switching to the Bills. Excuse me. I'm gonna go for the Bills in this one, actually. Just looking at matchup wise, I think Bills will take this one.
So I predicted Patriots for tomorrow night.
Oh my god.
But I'm now starting to think that the Bills are going to beat up the Patriots because I think that might be what happens. But then they're going to go next week, and then they're going to get in turn beat up by the Bucks because the Bucks, Tom Brady knows how to win the big games. Not going to take that away from him, and Tom Brady's going to take it to the Bills, and he's going to win.
I think the Buccaneers are going to win this game because they're more ready to beat the Bills, and I think the Bills are going to go and they're going to beat the Patriots today.
To win
tomorrow. But I think Tom Brady is ready to go with his team. They're the best team in the NFL at the moment, other than maybe Green Bay. And they're going to just go out and win. That's what they do.
That's probably the most shallow analysis I've ever heard from Dylan.
Yeah,
they're going to practice the entire week, and they're going to be ready to play a football game.
They're going to win. That's what that's what Tom Brady does. I don't really know what else.
The way you said it was just awkward.
He does it, like 11, 12 times a season?
Yeah.
All right. Tom Brady plays good.
Tom Brady wins games.
Tom Brady will be ready.
Moving into the most overhyped rivalry of all time, Bears-Packers.
Packers.
Overhyped?
Go Pack Go.
I haven't been around for the historical Chicago Bears old people teams. When I've been alive, they suck. So
okay, but that doesn't mean the rivalry is overhyped.
I'm joking. It's a joke. It's a joke.
It's like Liverpool Everton. It's not overhyped because Everton suck.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's just not needed.
No, but I'm gonna go with the Packers as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Packers because they're better.
Yeah.
Moving into the last one, we've got the Rams and the Cardinals.
Rematch now in Arizona. Arizona getting their 10th win on the season. I think undisputedly probably now the best team in the NFL. Kyler Hopkins back. I don't see the Cardinals losing this game. It's tough. I mean, the Rams, it's again, I love the narratives in the NFL. Stafford, oh my God, great trade. This guy's the MVP. Videos, Stafford's going to be the reason the Rams don't win the Super Bowl. It's like the way that the switch flips is crazy.
Every year.
And I'm not saying I disagree with it. I think Stafford's definitely been underwhelming as of recent, but it's just the NFL is a great league, which I think, don't forget, guys, we're going to have some podcasts coming soon when we're together, but I think that's something we should talk about. Let's talk about, do you like the NFL? I think it's a great question. Like, really, do you like the NFL? This sounds stupid. Never mind. I'm going to go for the Cardinals here.
Yeah, this is the true best team in the NFL, Dylan, not the Bucks, but the Cardinals. The Cardinals looked so back this week with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins.
That's another word. So back.
So back. They were so ready to win. They were so ready to get these guys back.
They practiced.
That they practiced together for the first time in weeks. But Kyler and Hopkins are going to be too much for the Rams. I know that they have Jalen Ramsey. Oh my God, but Hopkins.
Why does he wear a mask? Like, isn't it just harder for him to breathe? Like, do you see what he wears? Like a cloth, like head mask.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I don't know.
Yeah, never mind.
Dylan, what do you think? I got the Cardinals.
I've got the Cardinals.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching.
Really, but I know I said momentum's a very important thing in football, but that momentum doesn't count against the JV football team. I'm using that term for a second time, but Jacksonville have truly earned that title. So I think the Rams, no matter, they won 37-7 against a terrible football team, doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
Cardinals are going to walk in there and win.
All right, well, guys, we hope you guys did enjoy the video. I'm sorry, we do have to rush sometimes at the end of videos, do this software review. So hope you did enjoy. Cian McDermott, Charlie Nidell, Dylan Chow. Make sure you guys follow social media. As I said, podcast in person coming soon. Several topics. We'll probably have a thing where we ask you guys questions on Instagram or something, and we'll answer them. So see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. The 2-minute drill was completed again. This has happened so much. We thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.